Okay, so you're thinking about your finances. Maybe retirement seems, I don't know, fuzzy. Or saving for college is just this big cloud. And investments. Who even knows where to start?
It's a lot for anyone to handle.
Right. So you think, okay, I need some help. You start looking around for a financial advisor and bam, you hit this wall of letters. CFP, CFA, ChFC. What on earth do they mean?
And do they actually matter?
Exactly. Are they just fancy marketing, or do they tell you something really important about who you're trusting with, well, everything, your financial future?
It's a really common puzzle, and honestly, it's a crucial one to solve. Those aren't just random letters someone tacked on. They actually signify quite a bit. Serious education, tough training, very specific kinds of expertise.
So understanding them is key if you want to pick the right person.
Absolutely fundamental. You need to know who you're potentially partnering with on this journey.
And that is exactly what we're diving into today. We are going to crack the code on 3 of the big ones.
Yeah.
The most common and respected financial designations you'll probably bump into here in the U.S.
We're talking the Certified Financial Planner, that's the CFP.
The Chartered Financial Analyst, the CFA.
And the Chartered Financial Consultant, the ChFC.
We've dug through a stack of sources for this, articles from places like Smart Asset, Investopedia, but also looked at what advisors themselves are saying in forums, trying to get the real-world scoop.
Right. The goal isn't just definitions. We want to pull out the key stuff, the nuances, and really figure out what it means for you listening right now. Cut through that confusion.
Help you understand what kind of expertise, what kind of commitment these letters actually represent.
Precisely.
Okay, let's get into it. But maybe first, step back a tiny bit. What is a financial advisor even supposed to do? And why should I care if they have extra letters after their name?
Good place to start. At their core, financial advisors are pros who help people, individuals, families, sometimes even businesses, sort through their financial lives to reach certain goals.
Like retirement or buying a house, things like that.
Exactly. Retirement planning is a big one. Tax strategies, managing investments, setting up estate plans, figuring out insurance needs, saving for education. It's a pretty wide field.
So they can cover a lot of different areas.
They can. And you'll find advisors who are broad generalists, kind of looking at the whole picture. And then you'll find others who really specialize.
Like they only work with doctors or maybe only on investments.
Spot on. You might have someone who focuses just on investment management for people with a lot of assets, or another who knows the ins and outs of planning for small business owners.
Okay, and that brings us back to the designations,
Yeah.
right? This is how they signal what kind of advisor they are, what they're good at.
That's a huge part of it. In this industry, just calling yourself a financial advisor doesn't always mean you've gone through some super standardized, rigorous training.
Okay.
So these designations like CFP, CFA, ChFC, they are solid proof that the person has chosen to go through a tough process. Education, exams, ethical standards.
So they're saying, hey, I put in the work, I have the specific knowledge.
Exactly. And here's the proof. For you, as someone looking for help, seeing those letters gives you a certain level of confidence. It helps you understand the foundation they're built on.
Like a quality check almost. Tells you they've jumped through some serious hoops and should have a certain level of skill in a particular area. Gives you a place to start judging if they fit what you need.
Absolutely. They're not the only thing, we'll get to that, but they are really valuable signals. They tell you what kind of knowledge they focused on and, just as importantly, how they're supposed to act.
That conduct part sounds really key. Okay, let's meet the main players. CFP, CFA, ChFC. Lay them out for us.
All right. First up, the CFP Certified Financial Planner. This one is probably the most recognized by the general public when they're looking for personal financial help.
Okay.
It's often called the benchmark or even the gold standard for advisors who give comprehensive financial planning advice to individuals and families. The CFP board is the organization that awards it.
Got it. CFP, Comprehensive Personal Planning, for people like me and my family.
You got it. Next, the CFA Chartered Financial Analyst. Now, this one's a global heavyweight. It's seen as the gold standard, specifically for investment management and financial analysis.
Investment management, so different focus.
Very different focus in the core training. It's run by the CFA Institute. While CFAs might work with individuals on their wealth, their training is really deep in the analytical side, valuing stocks, building portfolios, understanding markets.
Then people sometimes mix up the name.
Yeah, a common slip is calling it Certified Financial Advisor. But it's Chartered Financial Analyst. That word analyst tells you a lot about where they concentrate.
Makes sense. Less about my budget, more about the nitty-gritty of investments. Okay, number 3. The ChFC.
Right, the CFC Chartered Financial Consultant. This designation comes from the American College of Financial Services. Like the CFP, it's focused on comprehensive financial planning.
Okay, so similar goal to the CFP.
Similar goal, but the program structure is a bit different. It allows for some flexibility, letting advisors maybe go deeper into specific areas within financial planning.
Interesting. So comprehensive, but maybe with more room for specialization built in.
That's a good way to put it. Potential for niche expertise within that broader planning framework.
Okay, quick recap then. CFP, Comprehensive Personal Planning. CFA, Deep Dive Investment Analysis. ChFC, Comprehensive Planning, maybe with some specialization. Let's dig deeper now. Start with the CFP. You called it the financial quarterback. Why that analogy?
It fits really well because the CFP is designed for professionals who work directly with you, the client, to build and manage a whole financial plan. The stuff they learn covers everything crucial to your financial life.
Like what specifically?
Investment planning, sure, but also retirement saving strategies, how to draw income in retirement, estate planning basics, tax planning, insurance and risk management, saving for college.
The works, basically.
The whole works. And the key word is integrating all of it. A good CFP isn't just looking at your stocks in isolation. They're seeing how those investments affect your taxes, how your retirement goals shape your savings needs now, how insurance protects your overall plan.
Seeing the whole field. Okay, I get the quarterback analogy now. That sounds really valuable. So what does it actually take to get this CFP designation? I remember seeing something about 4 E's.
Yes, the 4 E's: education, experience, ethics, and examination. Let's break those down.
Okay, education first.
For education, you need a bachelor's degree. Any accredited bachelor's degree works as a starting point. But on top of that, you have to complete specific coursework focused on those core financial planning topics we just mentioned.
And not just any course, right?
Correct. It has to be from a program that's registered with the CFP board. They vet the curriculum. Now, there's a small caveat our sources mention that if you already hold certain other high-level credentials, like maybe a CFA or a CPA or have an advanced business degree, you might be able to waive that specific coursework since you've likely covered similar ground.
So college degree plus specialized planning education. So that's a pretty high bar already.
Yeah.
What about experience? Is it just any job in finance?
No, and this is really important. The CFP board is quite specific here. They want CFPs who can actually apply the knowledge with real people. So you need either 6,000 hours of professional experience, that's roughly 3 years full-time in financial planning, that directly involves working with clients.
Directly involves clients, meaning?
Meaning you've been actively involved in things like gathering their financial data, figuring out their situation, developing recommendations, presenting plans, maybe helping implement parts of it, hands-on client work.
Okay.
There's an alternative path too. 4,000 hours in an apprenticeship, basically working directly under an experienced CFP professional. But the core idea is the same. The experience has to be centered around client-facing financial planning.
That's a key distinction.
Yeah.
Not just back office analysis, but actually working with people on their financial lives. Okay, next E, ethics. This sounds critical when someone's handling your money.
Absolutely critical. And this is arguably one of the biggest differentiators for the CFP. To get and keep the designation, CFPs have to stick to the CFP board's code of ethics and standards of conduct. And the cornerstone of that is the fiduciary duty.
Fiduciary duty. I hear that term a lot. What does it actually mean in plain English?
It means that when a CFP is giving you financial advice, they are legally bound to act in your best interest, period.
Legally bound.
Yes. They have to put your financial goals and needs ahead of their own interests or their firm's interests. They need to avoid conflicts of interest if possible. If a conflict can't be avoided, they have to tell you about it up front and manage it in a way that still prioritizes you. It includes duties of loyalty and care. Think of it like the duty a trustee owes to a beneficiary.
Wow. Okay, so they have to put me first. How does that compare to maybe other advisors who aren't CFPs?
It's a significant difference. Some other financial professionals operate under what's called a suitability standard, especially if their main role involves selling financial products like insurance or certain investments. Suitability just means the recommendation has to be appropriate for your general circumstances. It doesn't necessarily have to be the absolute best option available for you, especially if another option might pay the advisor less commission. The fiduciary standard is much higher. It demands the advice be truly in your best interest, considering everything.
That feels like a massive difference in protection for me, the client. Knowing if someone's a fiduciary seems like priority number one.
It's a fundamental question to ask any potential advisor.
Okay, so we have education, client-facing experience, ethics, including that powerful fiduciary duty. What's the last E, examination?
The examination. This is the big hurdle, the gatekeeper. It's one comprehensive exam, 6 hours long.
6 hours. Oof.
Yeah, it's usually split into 2 3-hour sessions on the same day. It's got 170 multiple choice questions, but they come in different flavors. Some stand alone, some based on short scenarios, and others based on longer, detailed case studies.
Case studies, like real-life situations.
Exactly, and that's the point. The exam is designed to test not just if you know the facts, but if you can integrate knowledge from all those different areas, taxes, investments, retirement, insurance, estate planning, to solve complex client problems. How does a tax change impact a retirement withdrawal strategy? How does an insurance need fit with the investment portfolio?
So it's really testing that quarterback ability to see the whole field and make the right play.
Precisely. It tests application and synthesis, not just recall.
What are the pass rates? Is it easy to get through?
Definitely not easy. Pass rates historically hover somewhere between 60% and maybe 70%, depending on the year and testing cycle. It's known to be challenging, requiring hundreds of hours of focused study.
Okay, so it's a serious undertaking. And once you pass, you're a CFP for life.
Not quite. There's ongoing commitment. To keep the CFP mark, you have to complete 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years.
So they have to stay current.
Exactly. And part of that continuing education has to be focused specifically on ethics. It ensures they keep up with changing laws, new strategies, and uphold those ethical standards.
So the CFP really means comprehensive personal planning focus, proven client-facing experience, that legal fiduciary duty, passing a tough integrated exam, and ongoing learning. How well known is it?
Among the 3 we're discussing, the CFP generally enjoys the broadest public recognition, especially for personal financial advice. The CFP board has actively promoted it, and you'll see many financial planning firms advertising their CFP professionals. It's often the first thing people look for.
And what jobs do CFPs typically have? What's the payoff for all that work?
You'll commonly find them working as financial planners or wealth managers. They might be in independent firms, larger registered investment advisor, RIA firms, or even some brokerage settings. In terms of income, it varies a lot based on experience, location, how their practice is set up. But our sources suggest experienced CFPs can earn well into 6 figures, with median incomes potentially ranging from $150,000 to over $300,000 a year.
Reflects the demand for that kind of comprehensive, trusted advice. Okay, that paints a really clear picture of the CFP. Let's switch gears. The CFA Chartered Financial Analyst. If the CFP is the quarterback, what's the CFA?
The CFA is more like maybe the chief investment strategist or the portfolio engineer. While CFPs need to understand investments as part of a plan, the CFA program dives incredibly deep into the analytical side.
Deeper than the CFP on investments.
Much deeper. Their focus is intense. Investment management, financial analysis, valuing assets like stocks and bonds, building and managing portfolios. CFAs help clients, individuals, or big institutions like pension funds make investment decisions based on heavy research and data analysis.
So if my main headache is sorting out complicated investments or managing a large portfolio, a CFA's training sounds like it would be spot on.
Highly relevant in those cases, yes.
What does it take to become a CFA? Are the requirements similar?
Also very rigorous, but different. For education, you generally need a bachelor's degree or equivalent work experience. You can actually start the exam process while in your final year of university.
Okay. And experience. Is it client-facing like the CFP?
It's different. You need 4 years or 4,000 hours of professional work experience, but it has to be involved in the investment decision-making process.
Investment decision-making. Like
analyzing securities, managing investment portfolios, doing economic research that feeds into investment choices, or even directly making investment recommendations based on that analysis. It's focused more on the asset side of things, the investment themselves, rather than the holistic personal planning side required for the CFP, although there's definitely overlap in wealth management roles.
Got it. Experience focused on the investments. What about ethics for CFAs?
Ethics are absolutely core to the CFA charter, too. They have to follow the CFA Institute's Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. And like CFPs, CFAs are bound by fiduciary principles when they're involved in investment management or giving investment advice. They must prioritize their clients' interests and the integrity of the capital markets.
Okay, so they also have that commitment to client interests in their domain. Now, the CFA exam, I feel like I've heard stories. It's notoriously tough, right?
It has that reputation for a reason. It's not one exam. It's 3 separate levels. Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. You have to pass them in order.
3 exams.
3 distinct, challenging exams. Each level builds on the previous one. Level I covers the basic tools, economics, quantitative methods, financial reporting, ethics. Level 2 gets deep into valuing different types of assets, stocks, bonds, derivatives, alternative investments, and applying those tools.
And level 3?
Level 3 is all about portfolio management and wealth planning. How do you take all that knowledge and apply it to build and manage portfolios for different clients? It even includes essay-style questions, requiring you to write out your analysis and recommendations.
Essays too, wow. How much study time are we talking about?
The CFA Institute itself recommends a minimum of 300 hours of study per level.
Or level, so potentially 900 hours or more.
Easily. And that's assuming you pass each one on the first try. Given the pass rates, many candidates take longer. Most sources estimate it takes the average successful candidate about 4 years to earn the charter from start to finish. It's a serious multi-year commitment.
And those pass rates? They're not that exactly encouraging, are they?
Historically, no. They fluctuate, but for the last decade or so, pass rates for level 1 and level 2 have often been in the 40% to 50% range. Level 3 might be slightly higher, maybe closer to 50-55%.
So roughly half the people fail each time.
Or more, yeah. It really highlights the difficulty and the depth of knowledge required. People often compare the rigor to a master's degree or even beyond in finance.
That makes sense if it's the gold standard for investment analysis. Where do CFAs usually end up working?
Primarily in roles very close to the investment process. Think portfolio managers, research analysts, financial analysts, investment bankers, risk managers. You find them in big asset management firms, hedge funds, banks, insurance companies, pension funds.
Less likely in a small-town planning office.
Generally less common in purely personal financial planning roles, unless it's a wealth management practice focused on high net worth clients with complex investment needs. They're often dealing with larger pools of money or more intricate investment strategies.
And the compensation reflects that specialized expertise.
It typically does. Sources suggest average annual earnings for CFAs often start well into six figures and can go much higher with experience, sometimes averaging around $180,000 or more. But again, it depends heavily on the specific role, firm, and location.
Okay, so CFA recap. Deep dive into investment analysis and portfolio management. 3 incredibly tough exams over several years. Specific investment-focused experience. Global recognition. And also bound by fiduciary principles in their work. How do we square the CFA and CFP then? Can someone be both?
Absolutely. People can and do hold both designations, and there is overlap, especially in wealth management. But the core difference is focus and depth. CFP is broad across personal finance, focused on the client plan integration. CFA is narrower, but vastly deeper in the investment silo.
So is CFP talks investments as part of the plan? A CFA lives and breathes investment analysis.
That's a good way to think about it. A CFP helps you decide how much to allocate to stocks versus bonds based on your goals and risk tolerance. A CFA digs into which specific stocks or bonds to buy, how to value them, and how to construct the portfolio for optimal risk and return using complex analytical tools they spent years mastering. Having both allows an advisor to cover both the big picture plan and the intricate investment details.
Got it. Broad planner versus deep investment specialist. Okay, let's bring in the third one. ChFC, Chartered Financial Consultant. Where does this fit?
The ChFC, offered by the American College of Financial Services, aims for comprehensive financial planning, much like the CFP. Its curriculum covers those core areas: retirement, insurance, investments, estate planning.
So, similar territory to the CFP again. What makes it different?
The main differences lie in the program structure, the specific requirements, and maybe the emphasis. The ChFC program is built around a series of courses, and it offers elective options.
Electives, meaning you can choose to focus on certain areas more.
Exactly. Within the program, you can choose electives that let you dive deeper into particular niches, maybe advanced retirement income strategies, or planning for business owners, or estate planning for families with special needs children, or understanding employee benefits in detail.
So while the CFP covers the whole breadth, the ChFC might allow for a bit more specialization within that comprehensive framework.
That's the potential advantage, yes. You could tailor parts of your learning to specific interests or client types, potentially gaining deeper knowledge in those chosen areas compared to the standard CFP curriculum, which requires mastery across all core topics for one big exam.
Interesting flexibility. What about the requirements for the ChFC? The E's.
This is where we see some significant differences from the CFP. For education, the ChFC requires completing 8 specific college-level courses offered through the American College. But here's a key point our sources highlight. Unlike the CFP, the ChFC designation does not strictly require you to already hold a bachelor's degree.
No mandatory bachelor's degree, really?
Not strictly mandated, though it's certainly common and recommended, but technically you can earn the ChFC through the coursework without a prior undergrad degree. That's a major distinction from the CFP.
That is a big difference. Okay, what about the experience requirement for ChFC?
It typically requires 3 or more years of relevant experience in the financial services industry, but the definition of relevant experience is generally broader than the CFP's strict client-facing planning requirement.
Broader how?
Experience in roles like financial analysis, supporting wealth managers, working in insurance, or other positions within the financial services sector might count towards the ChFC requirement, even if it doesn't involve the same level of direct, comprehensive plan development with individual clients that the CFP mandates.
Okay, so broader industry experience is acceptable. Now, ethics for the ChFC. Is there a fiduciary standard like the CFP?
ChFC holders are definitely expected to be ethical. They have to adhere to the American College's Code of Ethics.
Yeah.
However, and this is a really crucial distinction we need to emphasize, the ChFC designation itself does not come with a separate, formally defined, legally binding fiduciary standard imposed by the American College, in the same way the CFP board imposes one on its designees when giving financial advice.
So ethical code, yes. Legally mandated, put the client first standard like the CFP, no.
Not built into the designation requirements in the same formalized, enforceable way as the CFP board's standard. Ethical behavior is expected, but that specific legal obligation tied directly to the credential isn't there for the ChFC mark itself.
That's a critical point for listeners comparing credentials. Okay, and the examination process for ChFC. Is it one big test or multiple levels?
It's different from both. The ChFC uses a modular approach. You typically take an exam at the end of each of the 8 required courses.
So you learn a topic, take a test, learn the next topic, take a test.
Exactly. It allows you to focus your studying on one subject area at a time before moving on. You don't have that single, massive, integrative exam at the very end like the CFP, nor the sequential 3-level structure of the CFA.
Are those individual course exams hard to pass?
Generally, the pass rates for the individual ChFC course exams are reported to be higher than for the CFP or CFA exams, often in the 65–75% range, sometimes even higher. This structure is often seen as less daunting than the CFP's comprehensive final or the CFA's notoriously difficult levels, though it still requires mastering the material for each course.
And staying current. Do CHCs need continuing education?
Yes, they do. Like the others, maintaining the ChFC requires 30 hours of continuing education every 2 years and ongoing adherence to the American College's Code of Ethics.
How well known is the CHFC compared to the CFP and CFA?
Within the financial services industry in the U.S., it's definitely respected. Professionals know the American College and its programs, which have strong roots, particularly historically in insurance and planning. But among the general public looking for advice, it has significantly less name recognition than the CFP. And the CFA, of course, has that global recognition in the investment sphere.
Okay. And you mentioned something interesting earlier. The CHSC can sometimes be a pathway to the CFP.
That's right. Because the ChFC curriculum covers the core financial planning topics, completing the ChFC program actually satisfies the CFP board's education coursework requirement.
So if you have a CHFC and a bachelor's degree,
you could then focus on meeting the CFP's experience requirement, meeting their ethics standards, including the fiduciary duty, and then sit directly for the big CFP comprehensive exam without having to redo coursework.
So it could be a stepping stone for advisors wanting that broader public recognition and formalized fiduciary standing of the CFP.
It can certainly function that way. Some advisors might get the ChFC first, perhaps while building experience, and then go for the CFD later.
Very interesting connection. Okay, let's try to pull all this together now. Comparing CFP, CFA, ChFC side by side. Recap the main focus differences.
Okay, CFP, all about comprehensive personal financial planning for individuals' families, integrating everything. Strong client focus. CFA, laser focus on deep investment analysis and portfolio management. Think markets, securities, asset valuation, often institutional or high net worth focus.
And CHFC.
ChFC, also comprehensive financial planning, but with built-in flexibility for some specialization through electives. Broader path regarding degrees and experience compared to CFP.
And the journey to get them exams and experience differences.
Big differences. CFP needs a bachelor's, specific client-facing planning experience, and one tough integrative exam. CFA needs a bachelor's or equivalent, specific investment decision-making experience, and 3 brutal, sequential, level-based exams over years. CFA requires completing 8 course-based exams, no mandatory bachelor's, and has a broader financial services experience requirement.
And perceived difficulty.
General perception seems to be CFA exams are the toughest overall due to depth and multiple levels. Then the CFP's single comprehensive integrative exam. Then the CFSC series of course-specific exams.
And let's hammer home that fiduciary standard point one more time.
Absolutely critical. The CFP designation, awarded by the CFT board, explicitly requires its holders to adhere to a legally binding fiduciary standard when providing financial advice. They must put your interests first.
CFAs, too, in their domain.
CFAs also operate under fiduciary principles when managing investments or providing investment advice, as per the CFA Institute standards.
And the ChFC?
The ChFC requires adherence to the American College's ethical code, but crucially, it does not have that same distinct, formally defined, legally enforceable fiduciary standard attached directly to the designation itself by the American College, like the CFP board requires for its mark.
So if that legally mandated client-first commitment is top priority for you when getting broad financial advice, the CFP letters are a very strong signal of that.
It's a very strong signal, yes. And it's why organizations that focus on client-first advice, like NAPFA, the National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, often tie their membership to it. NAPFA requires its full members to be fee-only, take a fiduciary oath, and hold the CFT designation.
Interesting connection. Fee-only, fiduciary, CFP, often go together. Okay, recognition again, super quick.
CFP, widest U.S. public recognition for personal planning. CFA, global industry standard for investment analysis. ChFC, respected in the U.S. industry, less public awareness than CFP.
It's really helpful seeing them laid out like that. Now, we also touched on what advisors themselves say, like in those Reddit discussions. What were the main takeaways from practitioners?
Yeah, those threads were insightful. A recurring theme from advisors who held both ChFC and CFP was that they often found the CFT mark carried more weight in the marketplace, especially for client-facing comprehensive planning roles.
More recognized by clients.
Seemed to be the case. Several mentioned they actually let their ChFC lapse after getting the CFP because they felt the CFP was more valuable for attracting clients and conveying their expertise in holistic planning.
Why did they feel the CFP was more valuable? Besides recognition, did they talk about the exams?
Yes, many felt the single comprehensive CFP exam, which forces you to integrate everything for complex case studies, was a better test of true planning ability compared to the ChFC's method of testing one subject at a time. Even if the ChFC course content was good, the CFP exam was seen as the tougher, more validating hurdle for that integrated quarterback role.
But some still valued the ChFC process.
Definitely. Others saw it as excellent preparation. They used the ChFC courses to build the knowledge base needed to tackle the harder CFP exam later. For them, it served as a structured pathway, fulfilling the education requirement before sitting for the CFP test. So it can be both a credential in its own right and a stepping stone.
Did they mention any other letters we should be aware of?
Yes, frequently mentioned were tax credentials because taxes are so intertwined with finance. The CPA certified public accountant and the EA enrolled agent, who are federally licensed tax practitioners, came up often.
So advisors might stack these, like a CFP who is also a CPA.
Exactly. That combination signals strong expertise in tax-optimized financial planning. Or a CFA who is also an EA might focus on tax-efficient investment strategies. It shows advisors often get multiple credentials to build a really specific, powerful skill set for certain client needs.
That makes total sense. Your financial life isn't siloed, so the advice shouldn't be either. Okay, we've gone deep into the letters, the requirements, the differences, practitioner views. Let's bring it all home. Why does all this matter to you, the person listening, just trying to find good financial help?
It matters immensely because these letters are your first best clue about an advisor's core training, their specialty, and their ethical commitments, especially that crucial fiduciary duty.
So if I need help with my whole financial picture, retirement, insurance, basic investments, maybe some estate planning.
Then seeing CFP after a name is a really strong sign that their training lines up perfectly with those needs. And you know they're held to that fiduciary standard when giving you advice on those matters.
Okay, and if my main issue is really complex investments or managing a big portfolio, or I need super deep market analysis,
then a CFA's specialized deep knowledge in investment management might be exactly what you need. Their training in that specific area is far more intensive than the other two. Looking for a CFA, or maybe someone with both CFP and CFA, could be the way to go.
and the ChFC might be a good fit when.
A ChFC could be great if you have really specific, complex needs that align with the specialized electives they might have taken, advanced business planning, unique estate situations, etc. Or, as we heard, you might encounter them more in certain industry channels. The key is understanding their specific focus and asking about their experience in the areas you need help with.
And circling back to the fiduciary standard, why is understanding that so vital for me?
It's about trust and protection. Knowing your advisor, whether a CFP giving advice, a CFA managing investments, or someone working for a registered investment advisor firm, is legally required to act in your best interest, provides a layer of assurance that the lower suitability standard doesn't offer.
It aligns their success with mine.
Ideally, yes, especially when combined with fee-only compensation. Fiduciary duty minimizes those conflicts of interest, where an advisor might be tempted to recommend a product that pays them more but isn't necessarily the absolute best for you. It's a cornerstone of client-centric advice.
So the letters help me filter for expertise, A&D, for that client-first legal commitment. What if an advisor has multiple designations? CFP and CFA, for example.
That's usually a really good sign. It shows they've invested a ton of time and effort to gain expertise across different complementary areas. A CFP CFA likely has both the holistic planning skills and the deep investment knowledge. They can potentially handle more complex situations without needing to bring in someone else.
So more letters can mean broader or deeper skills. But you said earlier the letters aren't everything.
Absolutely correct. Designations are super important markers. They tell you about verified knowledge, training, and ethics. But they're the starting point, not the finish line.
What else should I look at?
Once you find advisors with the right credentials for your needs, you still need to dig into their actual experience. Have they worked with people like you before? How do they communicate? Do you click with them? What specific services do they offer? And crucially, how do they get paid? Fee only. Fee-based, commissions.
Because the fee structure can affect the advice.
It absolutely can. Fee-only advisors, compensated only by you, generally have fewer inherent conflicts than those who earn commissions selling products. Understanding their fee structure is vital. Finding the right advisor is about the whole package: credentials, experience, personality fit, services, and compensation. The letters just give you a huge head start in knowing what you're looking at.
It's about being an informed consumer.
Yeah.
Using the letters as a guide, but doing your own homework too.
You got it. Use the letters to narrow the field and ask better questions.
Okay, this has been incredibly illuminating. We've really unpacked these three key designations. We covered the CFP, the Standard for Comprehensive Personal Financial Planning, fiduciary duty baked in, client experience needed, tough integrated exam.
We looked at the CFA, the global heavyweight for deep investment analysis, multi-year, multi-level exam gauntlet, specific investment experience required.
And we dissected the ChFC comprehensive planning focus with specialization options, course-based exams, broader experience rules, ethical code, but not that same formalized fiduciary standard as the CFP mark.
And knowing these distinctions really empowers you when you're out there looking for help. You can better match the advisor's training to your needs and understand the level of commitment to your interests that comes with their credentials.
It definitely turns that alphabet soup into something meaningful. So here's maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Choosing someone to guide your financial life is a big deal in this complicated world. Understanding the letters after their name isn't just about checking a box. It's about understanding their training, their focus, and their fundamental ethical framework. So which set of letters, or maybe which combination, seems to resonate most with your specific financial situation and goals right now? And what other questions does that prompt as you search for the right financial partner for your journey?
Definitely something worth mulling over.
That wraps up our deep dive on financial advisor designations. We really hope this has brought some clarity and helps you feel more confident as you navigate finding the right advice for you.
Until next time.